Welcome, welcome, welcome to this channel, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah. And welcome to a new in-depth study series known The Spirit of Judgment. And in this 19-part counting in-depth study, you will learn all about what judgment is, what it means, what the spirit of judgment is, how Yahuwah sees judgment, how we perceive judgment, and the difference between us and Yahuwah in the way we perceive judgment. Alright, part 2 is called Redeemed with Judgment. I will turn my hand upon thee, and thoroughly purge away thy dross, and will take away all thy alloy, and I will restore thy judges, as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, a faithful town. Zion shall be redeemed with justice, and her comforts with righteousness. Yeshayahu or Isaiah chapter 1 verse 25 to 27. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment. Sin is Hashatan's challenge. It is unquestionably a difficult problem for the Most High Yahuwah to solve. We often mistakenly deem redemption to be Yahuwah's answer. But redemption is only part of the answer. It's not the complete answer. The final response by the Most High Yahuwah to sin is judgment. Our darkened thought considers judgment to be useless, because to us judgment is Hades, the lake of fire, suffering, and so forth. We fail to believe that in judgment lies Yahuwah's power. Though judgment is destructive, it also possesses the greatest constructive power. Since the Most High Yahuwah is willing to answer Hashatan's challenge with judgment, we are forced to conclude that it must be a very good answer, whether we understand or not. Judgment answers the challenge completely. For whatever Yahuwah the Most High does is always perfect. Our mistake is that every time we think of judgment, we think of punishment. But the Most High Yahuwah takes no delight in punishing man. Judgment has its other use besides punishment. Yahusha said, "For judgment came I into this world." Go to John or Yahukanon chapter 9 verse 39. In the old writings, Old Testament period, you will notice several times that the Most High Yahuwah used judgment to answer the problem of sin. For example, in the day of Genesis, chapter 3, there was a garden. Yahuwah created man and placed him in Eden in order to have fellowship with him. But sin came into the picture, because the serpent spoke but once, and man immediately fell into sin. Yet as sin came in, Yahuwah the Most High answered with judgment by driving man out of Eden so that he might not sin in the garden the second time. The garden was thereafter guarded, so judgment was Yahuwah's counterattack. It served as the answer to the entry of sin. Later, during the time of Noah, man became ever more wicked, and nowadays we see the utmost level that exists in wickedness. We are seeing it unfolding right under our noses. So the Most High Yahuwah prepared the ark on the one hand and judgment on the other. Both the ark and the flood came from the Most High Yahuwah. The ark offered redemption, whereas the flood judged the world. If salvation had been restricted to the persons in the ark alone, it would not have been great enough. The world as well as man must be saved. Redemption came upon both man and the world, and Yahuwah the Most High saved both. In like manner today, he will establish the kingdom as well as the assembly. He works to have the assembly first, and then he shall have the kingdoms of this world to become his esteemed kingdom. There will indeed be judgment, but judgment will come to purify the world from all of its evil. During the time of Exodus, there was still another instance of judgment. Yahuwah's people were living in Goshen. Pharaoh was on the throne, and Yahuwah's people fell into the hands of the idol-worshipping Egyptians. Deliverance of Yahuwah's people finally came through the blood, and the destroying angel weakened the Egyptians by killing their firstborn. The sacrificial lamb enabled Yahuwah's people to leave Egypt. They crossed the Red Sea, but the Egyptians could not go through, so that we can see redemption on the one hand and judgment on the other hand. The Egyptians were drowned and buried in the Red Sea, and at the moment they are digging up the leftovers, so the remembrance of that time. Their power was broken by judgment. As a matter of fact, judgment destroys every opposing force. We can also find many instances of judgment during the period of the book of Judges. As the children of Yisrael would fail, the Most High Yahuwah would raise up judges to defeat their oppressors. Now, these judges were those who from time to time judged Yahuwah's enemies. Every time sin became a problem, Yahuwah the Most High reacted with judgment. What is going on right now, people? We see the judgment happening all over the earth. We see his great esteem, and at the same time we see also the rising of his redemption plan. Wow, what a beautiful thing to be, a witness to. So that when Yahuwah the Most High arose, sin was stopped. Judgment truly cleanses. Likewise, in the New Testament, we find a series of judgments pictured for us in the form of 7 seals, 7 trumpets, and 7 vials. These are told of in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation quite simply glides over the millennium, and most likely because a 1,000-year period cannot be considered as being so long. It is merely something that is presented as happening in between judgments. Doubtless, the emphasis there is on judgment. So again, doubtless the emphasis there is on judgment. During the 1,000 years, people are going to learn righteousness, not grace. Learning righteousness is the same as learning judgment, because judgment manifests YAHUAH'S righteousness. Wow! I learn a lot today, and I learn, since I do this now for a whole month, all these the presenting and reading of all these in-depth studies, I'm learning a lot. I really do. Finally, we see in Revelation that the Most High Yahuwah shall use one last judgment to finish off Hashatan. Judgment is based on authority, not on power. So, the Most High Yahuwah puts the devil, Hashatan, as well as man under judgment, that they all might know He is the Most High Yahuwah. So you better can pray for judgment over all the things that you have done against the Most High Yah, than awaiting for that moment when you stand before His throne. Judgment weakens sin, and it secures victory for the Most High Yahuwah Himself. Send thy judgment, O Master, unto victory. See Matthew chapter 12, verse 20. If we were to stop at this point in our discussion, all might appear to be objective doctrines. But we know the burning fire is also the enlightening fire. So that is why some on the path are saying you better can go through the fire now than when you stand before His throne. We may have sinned, and yet we are not aware of it because we live in the natural. And there we come to all these in-depth studies named the spiritual man, the breaking of the outer man, spiritual discernment, serve in spirit, because all these in-depth studies as well as this one and the many to come, all these in-depth studies, they all teach you about your naturalness, especially the natural, the spiritual man. I mean, that is a very good in-depth study to watch, as well as the 9-part study series, The Breaking of the Outer Man. These two you need to watch. And the in-depth study of the spiritual man is a 43-part study. It's a very in-depth study, and I can say to you, wow, the information that is in there is really good food for your spirit. We may continue living on for 5 or 10 years without truly knowing ourselves. One day, the Most High Yahuwah has mercy upon us and enlightens us with the light of judgment. For light burns and sin is discontinued. Only when we live in darkness may we live our natural lives peacefully. That is the trickery of the life that many people are living. Even believers are still loving darkness. Although they are baptized, immersed, they still love darkness. There are still things in them going on that love darkness. That is because they don't know themselves. That is because their natural strength is not broken in them. It's because their natural, the outward man is not broken in them. And it's also because they do not stand before the Most High, better said, on their knees. They're not going on their knees to ask for judgment and for all the things that they have done that was truly against the Most High and a displeasing for the Most High. So, and because of this, we think we still live a peacefully life, but that is utter illusion. But once light comes, we can live that way no longer, because the light of Yahuwah, that if you ask to have his light shine upon your face, then he will show you the areas where you still have ugliness. We may not know why in future judgment men will hide in caves and call upon the mountains and rocks to cover them. But we do know that in judgment, whatever is covered is uncovered. So hiding has no use, because it will be seen, and it always has been seen. Yahuwah the Most High sees us through and through, but we do not know ourselves. We think we do know ourselves. That's the illusion. In the day of judgment, however, we shall see the things which Yahuwah the Most High has and had found in us. We cannot hide anything from the Most High Yahuwah. Yet we still want to cover ourselves, so we, as it were, call upon the mountains to hide us. Such seeing unsettles us. It gives us great pain because we know we have sinned. Yet this knowledge also dries up the sin in us. In searching out sin, the world is purified because judgment is great enlightenment as well as great burning. Under judgment, sin is withered in us. With the enlightenment from the Most High Yahuwah, man can no longer live in sin. Error is not corrected by argument, but by judgment. Once the light of judgment shines, everything is known. Ever since the Garden of Eden, judgment has always destroyed sin. For its light consumes. One day all the world's sins will be destroyed. The last destruction of sin will occur at the judgment of the great white throne. Without question, judgment has tremendous power. When we look at judgment, we are compelled to recognize who the Most High Yahuwah is. To know the Most High Yahuwah as Father is one thing, but to know Him as the Most High is quite another thing. Through redemption, we know the Father. Through judgment, we know the Most High and worship Him. Sin seems to have compromised the glory of the Most High Yahuwah, who achieves the upper hand on the earth, the righteous or the unrighteous, the crooked or the honest. Today people may have many reasons to misunderstand the Most High Yahuwah, but one day He will manifest His glory. For the Most High Yahuwah is holy, righteous, and terrible. Through judgment, He will be recognized as the Most High Yahuwah, as our Creator. Then men will know the terror of the Master. Knowing therefore the terror of the Master, wrote Paul, we persuade men. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 11. Today the terror of the Master may be only a teaching to many, but one day the whole world will receive this great revelation. The Most High Yahuwah will not permit sin to continue any further. Yet we need not wait till that day to know this. There will indeed be burning before the judgment seat of Mashiach, when all that can be burned shall be consumed. The lake of fire will indeed follow the judgment of the great white throne. But we can learn to let that light of judgment enlighten us today. Let the light be as bright today as it will be in that day. Let it shine more than once till we are smitten. How useless are mental knowledge and mere teaching here. May the Most High Yahuwah have mercy upon us if we are increased instead of being decreased. May He be merciful to us if we are not yet consumed. Here we are not simply preaching words. We want people to receive something vital that they may know what kind of persons they truly are before the Most High Yahuwah. Let us truly understand that enlightening produces burning, and this fire shall burn forever, and this eternal fire shall guarantee the eternal newness of the new earth. This is the great word, good news, Besora, of salvation for the new earth. The power of sin is now forever under Yahuwah's judgment. This reality is seen in the city of the Most High Yahuwah. Why is this city a city of gold? Because that gold represents the light of the Most High Yahuwah Himself, our beloved, everlasting, and ever-living Creator, Father, Ruler, and King. Because It is a city that has passed through the fire. That's the second. Gold and precious stones have gone through the fire successfully. So if we go successfully through the fire, we become this gold and precious stone. So that is why you better can go onto your knees today and ask to be judged for all the things that you have done in your life that were against the Most High Yah, were displeasing to Him, were an abomination to Him. So that you can, at the end, successfully pass through the fire and become His gold and precious stone. In essence, the new Jerusalem is fireproof. Many things in the old Garden of Eden were consumed, but all in the city of the new covenant shall endure the fire. Eternal fire thus guarantees the eternal purity of the world. The Most High Yahuwah will not be misunderstood anymore, for there is power in judgment. The Most High Yahuwah is light. Let us therefore walk in the light and not in darkness. Amen. Wow, what a beautiful teaching. Oh, thank you so much, beloved Abba Father Yahuwah, the Almighty One. Thank you so much for this beautiful, in-depth, understanding, teaching, words of wisdom and lessons that were in this, and that many that have the ears to hear and the eyes to see will see it and hear it, and that many hearts will be cleansed with this tremendous message, teaching, and words of wisdom. Thank you, Father, for letting me do what I do. Thank you. And to you who has listened to this, thank you so much for listening to it. And I wish you all a Baruch day. Do not forget, praise the Most High, beloved Abba Father Yahuwah, in all the things you do. And I say, Baruch haba b'Shem Yahuwah, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. And I see you next time.